Hi, we are talking on the 15th of
The
April.
15th of April,
I can't believe it's the 15th of April.
2024, and the sun's shining.
Just about. We've had massive storms here in South Wales, and it's just cleared up now. So thank you for that, universe. So how are you, Ron? Are you good?
Yes, I'm fine, thanks, Lizzie. Better than there was 10 days ago when I had that
Yeah.
bug, and that was awful. But
Yeah.
no, keep on keeping on, as they say.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Keep
for all
moving.
those out there that listen to us, sorry it's been such a long time. It is just over 2 months. Obviously, we have very busy lives, and I think we'll crack on, shall we?
Let's go.
I'll make a
So
start, and if I
yes.
if I get stuck, you can chip in, and then if you want to take over and add a bit, it's a mix and match in it, like it always is.
Let's just go with the flow.
Right. Well, just a quick recap on when we started. We are what we think, we are what we eat, and we are what we drink. I think we spent an hour and 10 minutes on we are what we think, just started on food. So we carry on with food for a bit. And then I think I'll leave this one to you, Lizzie, about possibly fasting to clear the
Yes.
toxins out of the body.
Yeah.
But uh, okay, let's go. With regards to you are what you eat, obviously food has a colour, and colour is important because colour carries a frequency, and in that frequency, it matches up with the chakra system in the body, which, if people don't know what chakras are, they're wells in the body. They run up the spine, and the base chakra is red, and the crown chakra at the top of the head is purple, and they go in the same sequence as the rainbow. So remember that every part of your body needs the best nutritional food you can eat, the highest vibration, and with that vibration, the optimum health you can be with decent food, proper diet, you'll always have good health. When you lower the frequency of the food, you lower the frequency of your body, and then you start to get lethargic. You can put on massive weight because you're eating junk food, and it's not good for you. And one of the biggest problems, particularly with processed food, and I go back to supermarkets again, is the amount of hidden sugar they put in food, and it's white sugar, the most toxic of all. I won't dwell on that from the point of disease because we know where that one's going, and you don't want to lose your YouTube platform. So enough said on that one. So yes, you need a good balanced diet. I I know there's a lot of vegetarians and vegans out there, and that's okay. You have to do what's right for you. But yes, I'm a meat eater. It's good for you. It stays you. You're not hungry all the time. And obviously, with dairy, balance, fruit, vegetables, keeping it the best optimum food you can buy in the shops. I'll still say support local farmers, local grocery stores. Do your best to keep away from supermarkets because of all the processed foods and the crap foods. I'm not sure from educational point of view with schools. You might want to chip in on this one. Lots of young children today have school meals, school dinners at school, which obviously parents have to pay for now. Um, Perhaps you want to discuss that just to give us an overview, because I've never had kids, so I don't know.
I have to say, Charlie's such a fussy eater that he has always had packed lunch. But I know for a fact if he had school dinners, which would be a lot easier for me, I know that he would not only want chips every day, he probably would be allowed chips every day. Um, and you know, as much as I try and avoid him eating as much junk as possible at home, if he's having it in school as well, I just, there's, and I know he probably wouldn't eat all day, which is probably better than eating the junk there. So I have no idea what school menus are like because I've never had to look. But Charlie does take his own packed lunch, so at least I know what is going into his mouth. Um, but I totally agree with you with the supermarkets and things like that. Now, I'm guilty. I use the supermarkets. It's just easier for me because there's not many local shops around me, and juggling work and everything else that goes with that. I do use supermarkets for convenience, but I have to say, what I tend to do is shop online because that way I'm not distracted by shiny objects and I'm not distracted by chocolates and things that are there designed to catch your eye. So if I'm ordering a shop, it will be what I need, and it may not be the best quality. I always try and go for organic, and I always wash my fruit and veg in like bicarbonate soda. Um, we can only do as much as we think we can do to help remove the toxins. But as for school dinners, I can't quite tell you on that because I just don't know. But I can imagine that they're not the healthiest of options. So, you know,
Actually, going back to school dinners, school meals, obviously, because I've never had children of my own, it's a long, long time since I was at school. Hell of a
not
long
that
time.
long, not that long. No.
And I remember my mum used to do the same for me when I was a kid. I had a packed lunch, and sometimes I used to come home during the school dinner break, and I never had school meals. So, you know, I can't talk on it either because it's something I didn't experience. I hope it's changed for the better. Going back to supermarkets again, and yes, I'm a bit of a culprit of this. If you've got a weight problem, try not to go to a supermarket in the early morning when you haven't had breakfast, you're starving hungry, because there's an old
So,
saying, a bit common, your eyes are always bigger than your belly. And when you go there and you see all these lush things on the shelf, and
mhm.
I've done it myself. I've walked around the supermarket, I'm absolutely starving. I got the shakes because I'm so hungry.
Oh yeah, that's the
And you
worst.
just load the trolley up and you think to yourself, why did I buy this? Why did I buy that? Loads of bars of chocolates, boxes of Black Magic and Cadbury's Dairy Tray and God knows what else. So always have a meal first and then go and get the shopping.
Yeah,
Only
good
that,
advice.
you know, if you're a mum and you've got 5 or 6 kids and you're on a very tight budget, you spend less because you've had a meal before you go out, and it's sensible. Don't
Yeah.
go shopping on an empty stomach. And
Yeah.
also, supermarkets are very, very devious. So always
Oh
put
yeah.
things in the right place where you get the optimum viewpoint. And like when you go to
Yes.
the checkout and you've got little kids with you, they're fairly low so they can get their hands on them. And little kids will say, Mum, can I have this? Can I have that? Or Daddy, can I have this? Bowls of chocolates and sweets right on the checkouts. It's
Yeah,
all
right a
done.
bit
It's
eye
all done.
level.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah,
all
very
done.
crafty. They they're very good at playing subliminal um messages within the music as well, aren't they?
Yes.
Like if they're trying to promote say an Italian wine that week that's on offer, they'll put the signs everywhere, but they'll also play Italian music in the background to try and kind of get you in that mood. I'm just using this as an example, but there's
Yeah,
a lot
very
of
true.
subliminal messaging within the signs when you walk in. Like, I don't know whether there's a bit of symbolism going on as well with like what's placed where, and you just don't know. But yeah, very devious indeed. And I think going back to the point that you said about eating a meal before you go shopping, let's lead that into the drinking side of things, because I think also none of us are drinking enough clean water. So, I mean, since I started Self Love Club, I mean, before that, I was probably not drinking any at all. All right, I was having tea, coffee, and the odd glass of water now and again. My camera's going a bit blurry. Um, but now I'm drinking at least 4 liters of water a day, and not only does that help curb your hunger. And I'm not saying anyone should just go out and be hungry, but if you're going shopping and you are hungry, maybe grab yourself some good quality water and have a good drink, because that helps. Because sometimes we think we're hungry and we're actually not. And if we are hungry, if we feel hungry, if you wait sort of 5, 10 minutes, it tends to dissipate. Um, so I think as well, it's important that we talk about the need for water and the quality of it as well. As I'm going to sip some more, excuse me. What's your thoughts on that, Ron? I mean, I've learned that if the amount of water that we need to thrive is something like a litre per 22 kilos. So if you were 66 kilos, you'd have to drink at least 3 litres of water a day. And I very much doubt any of us, well, I do now, but I doubt any of us drink at least 3 litres of water a day. I know that I know that seems quite a lot, but it's not really. If you and the more water you drink, you find the more thirsty you are. It's really bizarre because think about your cells. Everything inside you is water. So if you're nourishing your cells with lots of water, it wants more.
Well, it's the same as alcohol, isn't it?
I haven't touched alcohol for 3 weeks now,
Well done, girl. Well done.
but it's my birthday on Thursday, as you already know.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Happy birthday to me. Um,
And a happy birthday to you, sweetheart. And
oh, thank
yeah,
you.
well,
I love birthdays.
yeah, well, I
Um,
look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Going back to the water situation, um, I think in this country, I can't talk about abroad, but I'll talk about the UK. A lot of people that are living in old houses, particularly mine, because it's about 1900,
Mine.
it's a two-bedroom semi. A lot of the pipe work in these houses is old galvanized pipe. Some of it is old iron. It's very toxic. It's furred up like our arteries get if we don't have a proper diet. And that's why we have heart attacks and strokes, because of all the fat and all the gunge that builds up. But going back to water, I know a lot of the water you buy in plastic bottles, if it's on the shelf for any period of time or it's not opened, it's sealed, it could be there for 3 or 4 months. It's in warehouses. In the plastic,
Yeah.
there's
Good
a
point.
substance, it's like formaldehyde, and
Yeah.
in this plastic, it seeps into the water and it is a cancer producing agent.
Yeah.
So in the early days, when they first started selling bottled water, like Perrier water or sparkling water, it was always in glass bottles.
Yeah.
But because of the weight and the distribution, and it's cheaper to sell water in plastic bottles, if you have to insist on drinking it, then don't keep it too long, because that
Mm,
actually does seep into the water on an energetic level and it's not
yeah.
good for you.
That's a really
Also,
important point. Yeah, really important point.
going back to the old houses and the old piping, I think a lot of houses now, new builds, I think have got copper pipe, which is good for you,
Yeah.
because you're supposed to drink out of copper vessels, which enhances the energy. But
Yeah.
also with water, a lot of us that are now what I would say truly awake, we're now filtering our own water. And me particularly, because of this old house and the state of the piping, because when you look at it and you cut a pipe in half, what you're drinking is disgusting.
Oh,
You might as well drink out of the river. It
yeah.
really is evil. But
Yeah.
if you buy a decent water filter, I think they can range from about 55 to about 120 quid.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a lot of money. It's a big layout for some people, but it's got a charcoal filter. You boil it and it filters it and it gets rid of all the crap out of the system, out of the pipes, and you are actually drinking much beneficial water.
Yeah. I think if you can afford to have the whole water system change. I mean, I don't know how much that costs. Like if you have the money to do that, that would be even more beneficial because people forget that we not only like drink the water, but we cook with it, we wash with it, we
Yeah.
shower with it, we bath with it, you know. So, and our skin is the biggest cell that absorbs,
Yes.
organs, sorry, that absorbs water. So I know that, I mean, I personally can't afford to do that. So I'm just doing I've got a zero jug. The filters aren't cheap, but you get what you pay for, and it's worth it. I'm even considering getting one of the tanks now because I'm filling the jug up all the time because it holds about two. You can get different size jugs, but yeah, you've got a really good point about the pipes. In fact, that made me feel a bit queasy. Uh,
No, it is difficult. I think going back to food again, um, when I spoke about the chakra system, obviously the color of the food and the frequency is important. Um, as an example, if we look at oranges, obviously they're orange. They are very rich in vitamin C. They're good for you.
mm.
And it does enhance the sacral chakra because the sacral chakra is orange. Okay, it does help the body in other aspects, but the more pure the food, particularly fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, organic if you can get them. This is why I say always go to a local organic farm shop. Unfortunately, where you live and where I live, there's not any in the area.
Mm.
So we are forced to go to supermarkets. But one thing that is good if you're in a small village is support your local butcher. So if
Oh
you're
yeah.
a meat eater, get proper meat because some of the roasting joints I've seen in supermarkets now, in the old days when I was a kid, we used to have top side of beef, silver side. My dear old mum used to part cook it on a Saturday night
Oh,
and finish it off on a Sunday, and that meat was to die for. It just used to
oh,
melt in your mouth.
proper
And
meat.
made a wonderful homemade shepherd's pie, what was left over, mince it
Oh,
up.
oh, you're
But
making me hungry.
these roasting joints that you get today in a long roll, they're absolute crap, they are. And
Yeah,
they're
and
stringy, they're tough. Yeah,
injected with antibiotics and God knows
God
what
knows
else.
what they're putting in it. Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
it's just, I mean, what a toxic world we really live in. I mean,
Well, it's not surprising that we don't live as long as we used to. I
surprised we
think it.
live at all.
I think if we can find it, I'm not sure whether you want to put this on when you edit this. It was something that the Rothschilds put on.
Oh,
It is in the public domain, so it's
mm,
not like we're contravening anything.
no.
And it does say there that we want to keep your life span short. We don't want you living too long. We want to keep you in slavery. And I'll see if I can find it. I'll send it
Yeah,
to you
okay.
because that sums up everything I've said about the crap they're putting in the food, particularly processed foods, junk food, crisps, burgers. Another very toxic one is things like cola drinks. I won't mention the actual names, but you
We're
know,
getting, we're getting good at this, aren't we?
because a lot of young children are absolutely hooked on them because they're addictive, and this is
Mm.
where they get ADHD from. They're
Oh, the
high,
energy drinks, those awful energy drinks. There's
they're
been
absolute rubbish.
chemical, oh, and the
Oh God, yeah.
chemicals that have been found in those. Oh my goodness me. I'm lucky that Charlie only drinks water, and that is not me
That's
being
that's a
a
godsend.
persistent mum. It's I'm just lucky that he will only drink water.
Yeah.
He can even tell the difference between filtered water, bottled water, and tap water. I tried to put some pine needle tea in his water once, just a tiny bit, because I know that because he's got gag reflex, as you know. But I put a tiny bit of pine needle tea in the bottom of his water and got it out the fridge for him. And 2 minutes later, he came in and he was like, "This water tastes really funny." I was like, "Oh, does it? Okay, I'll get you something else." um, But yeah,
You sneaky little girl.
he just wouldn't drink it. If I told him what it was, he wouldn't go near it. And if I just gave him pine needle tea, he'd probably be sick. That's how bad his reflex is. But
I would say, talking about your son Charlie, I know he's very special and he's very sensitive.
yeah,
And I
he's so
think as
sensitive.
a kid, I was very similar to him because I'm very finicky with food. I've got so
Mm.
many food problems and food allergies. And I remember when I was growing up, my old dear old mum, when she used to make the gravy,
Yeah.
unbeknown to me, when she used to cook the Brussels sprouts and cabbage, which I'm
Oh,
absolutely toxic to me, can't even get anywhere near them. She used to,
oh,
the water she used to pour out of the cabbage water, she used to
yeah,
make the gravy with it. She used to
yeah,
sneak it in, and I could
yeah.
still taste it.
Oh,
And
really?
even to this day, I've only got to get near cabbage, all the brassica family, cauliflower. I just throw up. I just get so ill.
Oh no.
But it's good for you.
Oh,
But I just
mm,
can't tolerate it. So
yeah. Well,
whatever,
that's the thing. You can go without it and have nutrients in other vegetables, can't you? You
yeah.
know, don't force it. But
I,
good on your mama for trying.
yeah, she did. Yeah, she was sneaky. She tried to do the best for me. And, the one thing I did have when I was a kid was free school milk during playtime, which I don't think you get today. But,
I
it's
don't
all,
think,
no,
but even milk now we know is probably not the best for us either. You know, we're indoctrinated to believe that we've got to drink milk. It's good for our bones, good for our calcium, and makes you fit and strong, and makes you this and that. But now, when you think about it, what it actually is, it isn't very pleasant, really, is it? I
no.
mean, it's gone off cow's milk, really.
Well, that's right. Um,
Huh.
I was going to say something just now, and it went out of my mind, and I thought it was important. I just wonder whether I need to pause the tape for a minute. What do you think?
Press pause. Press pause. Like a
Okay, yeah, talking about your son Charlie, and he's sensitive, and so am I. Yes, I've just picked up the thread then. I think it's important if we look at Ayurvedic medicine and Ayurvedic diet,
what's
you
that?
have you have to, it's to do, I think it comes from India. They call it
Ayurvedic.
Ayurvedic diet
Oh,
and
okay.
Ayurvedic medicine. I think it's to do with the Ayurvedas. I'm not an expert on this, but there are books available. And I think this is something that a lot of us might miss because of where we've come from. Because I know I'm going off on a tangent on this one,
That's
because
fine.
we're not all human. A lot of us are aliens. We've come here to do a job. And, there's no more anyone more alien than me. Total whack job.
I think we've all got ET in us. I was talking about this last night on Kirsten's show, but go
Yeah.
on before I distract you.
Yeah. If you eat right for your blood type, because it's very important in Ayurvedic diet and Ayurvedic medicine, eating right for what type you are. I know there's three basic types. There's Veda, Pitta, and there's a third one I can't remember. But there are many sort of grey areas where you might cross over. You might be slightly one and a bit more of the other.
Hmm.
Those people that tend to be very, very heavy and balloony, like I'm more of a pitter. I'm very much in the head, very much like our dear friend Tom. He's quite small, little, very energetic, and I'm a typical pitter in Ayurvedic medicine and diet. The Veda ones are the more solid people, more grounded, bigger body frame, bigger body type. But I can't remember the third one. But if you eat right for your blood type, that is another good way of keeping into optimum health.
Yeah, I've heard this about blood types. Um, I actually tried to find out my blood type. They've sent me a home testing kit, but it was really difficult to interpret the results. So I still don't really know. And I found Charlie's red book because apparently it's in the, your midwife book or your health visitor book, but I can't find it in there either. So I think maybe they're trying to hide it from me. I
Actually,
don't
I'll
know.
tell you what, that's interesting you should say that because, well, you know my age, don't you? I don't want to keep mentioning it, but
21.
I'm 22, just hit
Oh, yes.
22.
I always get it wrong, don't I?
Yeah, you're 6 months out again. You're supposed to listen to me.
I listen to you all the time, sweetheart, even when you're not talking.
um, no, going back to these blood types, it's interesting. It took me 66 years to find out what blood type I was because I think very occasionally the authorities and the establishment don't want you to know.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered why. And now, because of, well, they talk about the 13 tribes of Israel, they talk about our ET matrix, because a lot of us are ETs. We don't belong here. And
Most
I
of us
know
are.
us don't because we come here to do a job. But if you go back to your blood type, I know I paid for mine, it was 20 quid. I had a private medical, and they said, if you want a blood test or a blood test to see what blood type you are, you can pay for it. I know if you give blood, they will tell you what your blood is, but if you go to
Yeah.
the doctors, they don't know, or they deny it, or they won't tell you. I've
They
had a
don't want to
major
tell you.
I've had a major operation at a hospital when I was 10 years old, nearly died. I still didn't know then because I didn't tell you. And I don't think anything's kept on record. But unless you pay for it privately, you'll never find out. And now I know why, because of where we've come from, who we are. And my blood type is AB rhesus positive. Now, in the UK, I can't say abroad because I'm not sure, but in this country, there's only 3% of us.
Wow.
And if you're O negative, which one of us in our group, I won't mention any names, and we're all different,
Hmm.
but O negative, there's only 1%.
Yeah, I know somebody who's O negative too, and I won't say their name, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
very rare, isn't it?
very rare.
And they say it's the ET
ET,
DNA, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
The most popular type is, I think it's O positive or just O, and mainly that group are, yeah, percentage wise, out of 100%, probably 70% O type, O positive, and they should be meat eaters.
Oh, right, okay.
And that is in a book that I've got, said that they need meat.
Yeah.
I think probably the reason why I've had so many issues with food is probably because of my blood type.
Yeah.
Some things are very toxic to me. Um, I
So
could
your blood type, what's the diet for your type of blood type? AB. Is it
I haven't
AB?
actually looked it up, but there are certain foods that are not good for me. Um, I need warm foods, and
Chocolate?
apparently bananas are not good for me, although I eat tons of them.
Chocolate's good for you though, isn't it?
And they're a cold food. Bananas are a cold food.
Yeah.
Um, I must admit, with everything else that's going on in my life, I haven't got time to study it, but people are interested. Ayurvedic diet, Ayurvedic medicine, and also eat right for your blood type is very useful for, as I
Yeah.
say, keeping optimum health. And
Yeah.
when you go to a supermarket, you just crash in all the crap food and all the rubbish. It's not surprising we're as ill as we are.
Yeah. Um, in fact, I'm going to use this moment to move on to fasting because I think this ties in quite nicely with the fact that we're all indoctrinated.
I was just about to mention that because it shows you how closely linked we are. Because I was
Yeah,
going to say, let's go on to fasting.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But I was gonna say, we're so indoctrinated to believe that we need to eat 3 meals a day. Like we're told we need breakfast, dinner, lunch, dinner. And of course we do that and then we snack in between. And the problem is we don't actually really need to eat like we do. And in fact, some people will say, well, we don't really need to eat at all. I don't agree with that because I love my food. Now, I've done a couple of fasts where I fasted for 4 days just on water. Um, and I've recently done that again. What I'm doing at the moment is intermittent fasting. So I'm doing 8 hours eating, 16 hours not eating, which is really easy because I'm still eating what I want, but within that 8 hour window, I'm actually going to reduce that to 6 hours now. Um, but the benefits of fasting are unbelievable, not just for losing weight, but for your health overall. Um, so with the intermittent fasting, let me read out the benefits of it because I've got it here on my phone.
Well done.
So basically, start off with the 8 hours eating window, as 16 hours not eating. Most of that is taken up by sleep anyway, so it's not so bad. The thing I'm finding hard at the moment is waking up and not having a cup of tea or coffee because I do like it sweet. Yeah, even with honey in it, it's going to raise your blood sugar. So you have to have black coffee or water until it's time. Usually 12 till 8 I'll do, or 11 till 7, sometimes less than that. But here's some of the benefits. So this is what happens when you start fasting. So after 0 to 2 hours after your last meal, your blood sugar starts rising because obviously you've eaten. So you'll feel pretty normal during the first hours of fasting because your body is going through the regular process of breaking down glycogen. Your blood sugar rises, your pancreas releases insulin to break down glucose for energy and stores the extra glucose for later. Now, the insulin part is really important because a lot of research that I've been doing is actually looking at the hormone side of weight loss rather than looking at what you're eating on a calorie controlled diet, which, you know. So after 2 hours, we then go into 2 to 5 hours. So this is 2 to 5 hours after your last meal. Your blood sugars start falling. So as a result of the effects of insulin, your blood sugar decreases to near normal after spiking. And it typically doesn't continue climbing because insulin is immediately delivered into your circulatory system after eating. And then 5 to 8 hours after your last meal, your blood sugar returns to normal. I'm going to try and make this brief. So at this stage, your blood sugar level returns to normal. You may start feeling hungry, but this is just your stomach reminding you. Because I think, don't forget, we're in a pattern as well where at 12 o'clock, where we normally have lunch, our stomach goes, hello, we normally have dinner now. Can we have something to eat, please? So your body just kind of reminds you that that's what you do. And, it's important to just recognize that because you're not going to starve. You're not going to starve. Your body will continue to digest your foods. Sorry, let me turn that on. Your body will continue to digest your last food intake. It starts to use stored glucose for energy and continues to function as if you'll eat again soon. And the next stage, between 8 and 10 hours, you switch into fasting mode. So 8 hours after your last meal, your liver will use up the last of its glucose reserves. Now your body goes into a state called gluco, gluconeogenesis, which indicates that your body has switched into the fasting mode. Studies show that gluconeogenesis, a metabolic pathway, results in the generation of glucose from body fat instead of carbohydrates. It increases your calorie burning. Now, that's important because what that's saying is rather than using energy, not just for moving around, but for breathing and for your heart to beat and everything else, instead of using the crap that you've eaten, you're actually now using your stored fat from your body. Because don't forget, every time we eat, we're storing it. So then between 10 and 12 hours, you're turning into fat burning. So you've got very little glycogen left. So then I'm gonna just skip through them now. Between 12 and 18 hours, you then step into a ketosis state. So now this is where you're it's the turn of the fat to fuel your body. So again, you're using your stores rather than what's inside you. Between 18 and 24 hours, you're in fat burning mode. I like this one. The longer you fast, the deeper into ketosis you'll go. By 18 hours, your body has switched into fat burning mode. Research shows that after fasting for 12 to 24 hours, the energy supply from fat will increase by 60%, and it has a significant increase after 18 hours. I love that. It's now starting to get to 18 hours, but I am starting to get hungry. And then at 24 hours to 48 hours, so 1 day to 2 days. At this point, your body triggers autophagy, which I don't know what language that is, must be Greek or Latin, but autophagy literally means self-devouring. So this is where your cells start to clean up their house. They remove unnecessary or dysfunctional components. It's a good thing because it allows the orderly degradation and recycling of cellular components. Basically, what it's saying is it's clearing out all your crap cells that have been there that are no longer serving you
Yeah.
in readiness to create new cells. So 48 hours to 56 hours, your growth hormone goes up. Your growth hormone level is much higher than the level at which it was before fasting. This benefits from the ketone body's production and hunger hormone secretion during fasting. Growth hormone helps increase your lean muscle mass and improve your cardiovascular health. Sorry. Then we got 56 to 72 hours. This is where you start getting sensitive to insulin. So your insulin is at its lowest level since fasting. It makes you more insulin sensitive, which is an especially good thing if you have a high risk of developing diabetes. Lowering your insulin levels has a range of health benefits, both short term and long term, such as activating autophagy and reducing inflammation. The last one now. So when we hit 72 hours, now this isn't easy, but if you can get there, this is where your immune cells regenerate. So this is the survival of the fittest. Your body turns down cellular survival pathways and recycles immune cells that are damaged when fighting viruses, bacteria, and germs. So basically, what happens during this last stage, and if you can keep that going, you are literally kind of not only ridding yourself of all the toxins in your body, you're now recreating younger cells. So in essence, you're reversing age. You're becoming younger. Now, I'm not a medical expert, and this is, disclaimer here. I, if anybody's seeking to fast, get medical advice first. And just want to put that out there. And it's like I said earlier, if you're gonna fast, you would literally have to live off water. So you need to up your water at least by double, I would say. I mean, I'm drinking about 5 or 6 liters now when I'm fasting, 4 liters when I'm not. Um, some people will, you'll get headaches when you start getting hungry, and it's important to put a little bit of Himalayan salt in your water to balance those electrolytes out because you will start feeling a bit because we're not used to it. But the
Yeah.
benefits health wise are just fascinating. Like I've been studying this now for a few weeks and I can't stop watching stuff about it. Um, I lost about 2 kilos in my first week doing this. I've not weighed myself this week, but I'm doing it for health and to shift a bit of weight because over the winter I've literally hibernated with my duvet. And it hasn't actually got that much warmer yet. So I'm still in that kind of, oh, I need to get out and exercise, but just excuses, excuses.
If I can just chip in here
Please
on this
do.
one.
Please do.
Yes, I totally agree with what you're saying. It may not be for everybody. I didn't intentionally do this, but because I was so ill 10 days ago, I literally was forced to go on a fast. And I didn't do just water. I did fruit because the stomach needs something to work on. And it was just purely half a grapefruit, a banana, a few grapes, and a pear, water, no alcohol, no solid food. Because I was so ill, every time I something solid, I threw up. I was
Oh, bless you.
I was really rough.
Yeah.
And perhaps it was the body saying to itself, okay, you keep pushing yourself. Although I'm only small, only weigh 8 stone, I'm still toxic. And
Mm.
obviously, the alcohol doesn't help. But going on that fast for a week, I did feel a lot better.
Mm.
And also, when you look at your arteries, and I know I mentioned this in the last video with women that got weight problems and their stomach balloons right out.
Yeah.
The reason why, when your stomach stretches, you get really hungry and you're absolutely starving, and you keep filling that gap up. You keep shoving more crap food in, more junk food, just to fill the gap. But you're
Yeah.
still starving because you haven't got the nutrition in the food. That's why it's good for people, if you want to lose weight, is to go on a meat diet. I'm not saying pork because I don't eat pork. It's very toxic. But if you eat a lot of chicken, rump steaks, beef, lamb, I think it's good for you. And I'm not having a go at vegans or vegetarians. You have to choose your life. It's your choice.
Mm.
But to do a fast, another good way of doing it is possibly, if you're working and you've got a very heavy physical job, like you might be a brickie or a builder, or you might be a roofer, and you're a strong guy, to go all day without food is not easy because you need your strength. So for those guys out there, it's worth doing it once a week, probably on a Sunday when you're at home. For
Yeah.
builders and guys that are doing a lot of physical heavy work, one day a week, have a fast.
Yeah.
Now, if
Absolutely.
it's only one day a week, you
Yeah.
could have water all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
if you just need a little bit of fruit, or just say perhaps as a main meal midday, just a couple of dates or a couple of figs so you can digest it, little bit of fruit, but preferably if you're only going to do one day a week, every week, one day, it
Yeah.
gives the body a chance, it gives a chance for the liver to cleanse itself and the kidneys. But if you
Mm.
do 3 or 4 day fast with just water, you are pushing yourself. But what I've noticed when I've done it, it shows you how the toxins are clearing out of your body. And I'm talking from a man's point of view here. When you have about 8 or 9 pints and you're in the loo every 5 minutes, because once you break the seal, it's every 10 minutes. And your urine is like crystal clear water.
Yeah.
When you go on a fast for 4 or 5 days, it's like treacle. It's disgusting. It's bright orange and it stinks to high heaven. And what it is, it's clearing your kidneys out, it's clearing your liver out, and it's detoxing your body. Because everything that goes in, you know,
Let's come out.
when it's two-way traffic and it's like the M4 motorway, you were just shoving it in, it's going straight out, and the body doesn't get chance to recuperate. The liver's
No.
toxic, the kidneys are toxic, your heart gets fatty, your liver gets fatty, and it's not surprising we get ill and we get sick. So therefore, if you don't want to do a week's fast, which is tough for some people, just do one day a week, preferably a Sunday when you're home so you can rest and just have water, nothing else.
That's
That's
really good
another,
advice.
that's another way of good way of looking
Yeah,
at it.
it is. And in fact, what I've been researching is because we're looking at the hormones rather than the calorie intake. So,
Yes.
what people are saying is obviously when you eat, your blood sugar spikes up. So, say
Yeah.
this is a chart, so your blood sugar spikes up and then it'll drop, depending on what you eat. So if you eat carbohydrates that are low in GI index or whatever it is, or sustaining, you might drop slower. Whereas if you eat rubbish, it tends to dip and then you get hungry quite quickly after, like you were saying. But what these studies have shown is when you fast, so if you're having an 8 hour window, your blood sugar, you can eat, pretty much what you want if you wish. Your weight loss might not be as significant if you're eating crap. So I wouldn't suggest that. But in that 8 hour window, if you're eating, then at least your insulin is going up and down like this, and that's fine. But then when you fast, it'll drop, and then that's when the fat burning starts. So if you're gonna do a fast and then eat something in the middle of the day, unfortunately, your blood sugar will spike up, no matter what, if it's
Yeah,
good fruit or whether it's I don't know, a bacon sandwich. So if from what research is saying, if you're gonna fast, even if it's just one day, try not to eat anything because it will just literally spike up and then that's your fast broken. So you've got to start again. Does that make sense? Because you've got to
definitely.
get to a certain level before your body starts using, like, this is for weight loss now. So your body's going to have to start using your fat stores at some point. But if you keep rising your insulin with whatever, then you're not going to get there. I hope that makes sense anyway. In my doctor, it's been like you had me in stitches just now, so sorry about that. We
That's
laugh.
all right. Well, you know
Uh,
me, I always tell it as it is. You know, I know we keep saying this, but we are down to earth.
yes, that's it.
Now,
Well,
I'm not a
also,
professional nutritionist, but it's just,
yeah,
to me,
please
it's
don't sue us.
common sense. It is
Yeah, yeah,
common
yeah.
sense.
I've actually got a Freestyle Libra sensor fitted on my arm. You won't be able to see it. Let's see if I can get it out. It's a little disc.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So you attach that into your arm, and you've got an app on your phone, and it'll scan your blood sugar, but it'll do that anyway by Bluetooth. So I've been keeping an eye on my blood sugars to see, just out of interest. I don't need it. I've not got diabetes. I work in diabetes, so I've acquired this. Um, so I've been keeping an eye on what I'm eating and what my blood sugars are doing, and it's been fascinating because what I thought would spike my sugars quite high actually didn't, and vice versa. And also another thing that I picked up on was the fact that when I first started using it, my neighbors were being really noisy and I got a little bit angry and I didn't mean to, but it was early hours of the morning. So my blood sugar at that point was really low because when you're sleeping, it tends to drop anyway. So I
Yeah,
think it was something like 3. And it actually went into the red, which is fine for me. I'm not diabetic, so my body can cope with that. Um, so of course, when I got woken up, I felt this because I was so tired, I couldn't go back to sleep. So I started banging the wall to try and get them to shut up. I could feel myself getting worked up. And I went back to bed and checked my blood sugar again, and it had shot up to something like 7. And that was just purely because of how I felt. So that not only made me think, oh my goodness me, like that's probably ruined my fast, but it also made me aware of how important it is that we don't get into that vibration because it's there physically in front of my eyes to see the effect it has on the body when you're feeling that
that's brilliant.
state of anger. So it's been quite an interesting journey for me. I'm going to take this off because it's been on for 2 weeks and I should take it out now because it's Bluetooth as well. I don't really want the,
Can
the
I
signal going back and forth. And it
can I
is kind
just
of,
yeah,
yeah, go on, go
can I
on.
just say something on that?
Yeah,
It triggered that moment when we done the first video, and this is important. Don't forget we're energy beings. We are pure energy. Although we look like we're in solid form, but we are energy and we're frequency.
yeah,
Going back to what we first started with, like you've just said, getting angry and getting upset, your blood sugars went through the roof.
yeah,
Can you imagine people with high pressure jobs? And it's not surprising that they have heart attacks and strokes.
yeah,
Your blood sugar goes through the roof,
yeah,
and goes back to what I originally said. We are what we think.
yeah.
We are what
That's
we eat.
absolutely.
Yeah,
It's
and
all
I
kind
think,
of beautifully tied in, isn't it?
doesn't it just? Yeah. Okay, going back to you are what you eat, and we need to eat right for our blood type. And I think actually, Lizzie, this is a book you need to buy. I think it
Yeah.
will help you. I think it will help a lot of people. Um,
Eat right. Four blood types, four diets. Eat right for your type. Interesting. And who's the author? Dr. Peter J.D. Okay.
Now, if you look on the back, I'll do it quite slowly.
Yeah. Oh, Christine Northrup.
Yeah, and
Oh,
you know how good she is.
yeah. Is she involved in the book or is she
I'm
oh
not
that's really
sure.
interesting.
I'll tell you what,
Uh,
I put that
I'll put
there.
yeah, the barcode.
Yeah, because I think probably one of the best bookshops, probably in London, it's called Foyle's Bookshop, or you might be able to get it from WH Smith's. Um, they will order it for you, but
Right, okay.
I
I'll
think
have
I think it's a must. Actually, I've got a bookmarker here, and this will make you laugh.
that's my boy. For any of you out there, Ron is a bit of a chocoholic. He loves his chocolate.
Yeah, there's about 10 bars of chocolate in the fridge. No, I think that book's a must have.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. That's really interesting. What I'll do, I'll try and pop a link maybe if I can find it online for people that can
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Also,
fascinating.
if I can find that thing about the Rothschilds about keeping your lifespan low, I think that says everything of
Yeah.
where they want to try and not let us be on the planet too long
They
because
want to
we take
eliminate
over.
us because we're useless eaters. Not my words, his words, not Ron's. Charles'
I can
words.
actually tell you who said that because he's not on the planet any longer. Henry
Who?
Kissinger.
Oh, oh, they're all gross, though, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
I heard that Klaus Schwab has been taken ill.
Well,
Good riddance.
all I can say to that is I,
Hallelujah.
I, I wish him the best of death.
Love and light. We say that with so much love, don't we, Ron? Oh, it's been lovely talking to you again.
I shall remain silent on that one.
Yeah. Ron, it's been so lovely to talk to you again. I'm so sorry it's been so long. I mean, for the audience, just so you know, I'm in the middle of a house move.
Oh
Well, not
yes,
actually, it's in
yeah.
the
How's
middle
that
of it,
going?
but oh, well, I've kind of started packing now, but this is where I'm going now. I'm going to see my solicitor because I need to physically see them face to face to get updates because I've been asking for completion dates because I want to know. I don't want to live out of boxes because God forbid if anything went wrong. I'm not calling that in, by the way. God forbid if anything went wrong and I've started packing up and putting all the effort in. I don't want to have to deal with unpacking and stuff like that. So I need a date to get my butt into gear as well, because as soon as I get a date, I know I'll be all systems go.
Well, it's not only that. You've got something to aim for. You've got an objective. You think, okay, this is the date. This is completion. I can now start organising a removal van. I can get people to help me pack the last bits and pieces. And the
Yeah.
worst, it's not the big furniture, it's not the tables and chairs and the bed and the sofa. The worst nightmare is all the odds and sods, all the knives and
Uh,
forks in the kitchen, you know, the
yeah,
cups, the china. That is, you know, I've done 10 moves, so I know what it's like.
yeah. Well, I mean, nearly 46, but when I moved out, I bought my first home at the age of 21, 2020. So in 26 years, I've accumulated a house full of rubbish, and I spent the last year throwing it all back out, or recycling it, or taking it to charity, or down the tip. Like it's getting to the point now where I haven't really, I have got stuff left, but I've got rid of a lot of stuff, and it feels so cleansing to do that anyway. But
Actually,
you know,
can I just interrupt on that? Because I just
yeah,
got a download there.
yeah, sure,
The more you clutter your house, the more your future's blocked. And if you go into feng shui or feng shui, as people call it, when you fill the attic up, you fill your mind up because and you block your future.
Yeah,
So if any time you want to move, make sure you clear the attic out first,
I
because that's
know.
the future.
The attic has been interesting because I've ignored that for until I have to, but that is everything got has gone up into the attic. And because it's not boarded out, it's all around the hatch.
Can I
So,
just say this? Because I'm getting massive downloads here.
yeah, sure.
When you put stuff up in the attic, it's because you don't want to deal with it, because you don't want to throw it away because you attach to it energetically.
Yeah.
So where can I put it? When you're suffering with trauma and breakups of children or marriages or whatever, you can't deal with it. So you shove it in the body somewhere, wherever
Mm,
it's convenient. You put it in your liver, you put it in your kidneys, and then it becomes toxic because it's an emotional stress. Your mind can't cope with it because it's so emotional. You bury it somewhere and you think, oh, well, 10, 20 years down the time, I'll have a look at it. This is another toxicity of the body. And this is where you need to clear your mind. You need to work on forgiveness. Goes back to we are what we think again. And I think I'll probably finish off on that one, because the
mm,
more your house is full up, and I'm a prime example, you've seen my house, the amount of stuff that's in here.
yeah,
And I need to move. I want to move, but there's no way it's going to happen because there's too much stuff in here. Until I clear it,
yeah,
energy level, then the universe will say, okay, he's all ready to go. Just need a small van, take the basics, and we're
yeah.
moving.
I
But
love that analogy, Ron. I love that download. That
I just
is
thought I'd mention that.
spot
It just came
on.
in, broth it went. I thought, got to
Yeah,
mention
I love that. I love that. And it's true, like,
it.
and you're right. We cling on to things, and there is an energy attached to them. And, you know, until we get rid of those attachments, we can't create new attachments, which is what I'm doing now. And interestingly, self-consciously, I did start decluttering about 2 years ago because I was on a spiritual cleanse. So I was decluttering that to declutter my mind. But basically, what I was doing was in the back of my mind, I knew that I needed to get out of here. I've not been happy here since I
No,
moved here, really.
too much
But
old
yeah,
energy, too much of the past. You're a different person to what you was. And that different person, which is a whole new human being, needs him to be another new human house that matches your frequency, because
yeah,
you've outgrown where you are. You've
mm,
outgrown a lot of people from the past, like I have. And when
yeah,
you change energetically on the inside and the
yeah,
outside. And that's why, to help you change, you
yeah.
need the highest frequency of liquids, of foods, and thoughts. I'm going to call it a day on that.
I love that. Oh, I love that. Thank you, Ron. It's been fascinating. And thank you to our audience for listening. And we promise you we won't be that long for the next one.
No, 4 weeks next time, because it's been about 2.5 months, isn't it? Anyway, Lizzie, lovely to talk to you. I'll see you on
And you.
Saturday. And as always, love you to bits, you know that.
I love you too. Thank you, Ron. Bye
And
bye.
thank you to the audience.
Yes, of course. And our soul tribe,
Yeah,
as always.
definitely our soul tribe. Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye, Lizzie.
Bye bye.
Bye all.